Emotional resilience and structure versus emotional vulnerability. Home versus work. Rest versus discipline. These are all themes that are going to be brought up under this full moon in Capricorn happening on this Thursday, July the 10th. It is happening at 18 degrees and 50 minutes for reference in the sign of Capricorn, of course. And of course, the moon is in detriment in the sign of Capricorn, so it doesn't necessarily do very well here. And I personally would refer to this full moon as a very karmic full moon. I don't think it's necessarily overly powerful or overly hard to maneuver or energetically transmute, but I do think it is karmic. I say this for a few reasons, mainly because this full moon and the sun, which of course the moon and sun are in opposition during a full moon, are both in contact to the north and south node. The full moon in Capricorn will make a trine to the south node that concurrently makes a sextile to the north node, and then it's opposite for the sun. The sun is going to make a trine to the north node and a sextile to the south node. The nodes are inherently known as the axis of karma, what we're moving away from or what we're moving towards, as most common astrologers will refer to them as, although they are a lot deeper than that. Not only that, we also have, the ruler of this full moon, of course, is Saturn. Saturn is the karmic influence in astrology, although I am a karmic astrologer and evolutionary astrologer, so I think all of astrology is karmic, but these are particularly karmic points and planets. We also kind of have a loose mystic rectangle at the time of this full moon. Mercury is unaspected by any major planets, and Mars is approaching its conjunction with the South Node in Virgo. Now, we are in Cancer season, of course, and during Cancer season, themes of the home, family, past, parents, our deep emotions, our emotional ties, but I really want to focus on like memory in the past, because these are themes that can certainly be brought up during this full moon. I think there's going to be a lot of integrating things, triggers, wounds, and feelings from the past that are going to be brought up, and they're meant for us to transmute, purge, and alchemize. It's asking us to integrate emotional intelligence and emotional integrity, and giving more structure to our emotions, but also not shoving our emotions down or suppressing our emotions, because of course when we have a fallen or a detriment moon, this can be a tendency of the moon in Capricorn, or say the moon in Scorpio, or other places where the moon isn't necessarily comfortable. We have a way of ignoring our emotional nature in sacrifice for something that is inherently not as tied to our emotions. Now, anytime we have a transit that reflects the Capricorn Cancer axis, I always refer to like work-life balance. There is certainly a balance here, and we can look at this in many different ways. It can be career versus home and family. It can be your home versus the public, or what other people see about you. It can be your reputation versus your internal emotions. There's a lot of things that fall into this opposition. The moon here feels a lot of pressure to hold it all together and to hold its emotions inward. I would say even more so than the moon in its fall position of Scorpio, because Scorpio is a water sign and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So there's this inherent nature of Saturnian or Capricornian energy that wants to restrict things. And when the moon is here, the moon is not comfortable. It doesn't allow itself to feel. So we really have to allow ourselves to feel and to purge in order to gain structure emotionally, right? We have to emotionally regulate, but in order to do that, we have to actually know that we're suppressing emotions, and in order to do that, we have to kind of purge them and let them up and out. We have to own our emotional needs. We have to evaluate our emotional boundaries, not letting our emotions control us, but allowing them to allow us to spiritually elevate. The North Node is in Pisces. This is all about our spiritual growth and advancement. So in order for that to happen, we have to let go of those South Node and Virgo themes. And I think that's going to be a key component with this full moon in trine to the South Node in Virgo. It's bringing up a lot of things, triggers, wounds, and past tendencies from that South Node in Virgo in order to integrate into the North Node in Pisces. I believe this trine is really asking us to integrate emotional maturity and also like karmic pattern recognition and awareness for how karmic tendencies, South Node and Virgo, have manifested in the past, and how that has negatively or positively possibly affected you, and how you can change that moving forward in a more mature way, or emotionally mature way, I should say. These can be patterns of service, it can be control, criticism, perfectionism, it can be caretaking, all associated with the sign of Virgo. So look to see where Virgo is in your chart, which house is ruled by Virgo. This will give you an idea. Of course, this is happening where the South Node is. But of course, take additional note of where the full moon and where the sun is at. So where Capricorn and Cancer are in your chart, which houses are ruled by these signs, that's where this full moon is going to be. But it's definitely important because it's in contact to the South Node in Virgo. We're essentially being asked to make more emotionally mature and spiritually aligned choices and decisions. We also have to really own our emotional needs, not being afraid to express our emotional vulnerabilities, knowing when and where to do that. So there's a time and a place for everything. This isn't like letting all of your emotions out when you're talking to the cashier at the gas station, right? This is understanding that you do have to have emotional boundaries, but that doesn't mean you just suppress them and ignore them 100% of the time. Yeah, I don't know. And as this Mars comes closer to the conjunction with the South Node, you know, this can be seen, to me, it can be a little bit of a volatile energy. I think the fact that it's in the sign of Virgo kind of tones it down a little bit because it's an earth sign. It's mutable earth, although it is kind of a faster moving energy because it's ruled by Mercury. I still think that earthy quality of Virgo kind of slows things down. But depending on where this is happening in your chart, how it's aspecting other planets, this could be potentially very volatile. It can be very triggering. It can be very stimulating as well. So we can talk further on that in the next video. But yeah, I think this full moon is actually very helpful. It's very healing, and it's helping us to realize and integrate like pattern recognition from the past, what has karmically not worked out for us, or what has worked out for us that we need to integrate more, ultimately leaning towards our spiritual growth and advancement. But much love, y'all. Personal readings for astrology and tarot up at the link in my bio, and stay groovy.